Liberation greetings to all and sundry, my dear people of Ambazonia, fellow brave warriors of our liberation in the southern Cameroons and all over the world, sympathizers and supporters of our cause across the world. Today is Friday. This is April 29, 2022. I come today with a lot of salutations to all the brave people of Ambazonia who continue by day and by night to make nonsense of all the efforts and attempts of La République du Cameroun to try and continue to hold us in slavery and servitude for many more years after we've been there for 60 years and counting. My people, I continue to say on this platform that we will know the truth, and the truth will set us free. That is why I will continue crusading and informing our people of exactly what is happening in La République du Cameroon, so that we know that by day and by night we are making progress. We are inching in gradually, and we will soon get there. Tomorrow will be April 30. And on Sunday, May 1, La République du Cameroon usually observes International Labour Day. But of course, we have already seen that there's a lot of modification going on around the program to the point where march pasts have virtually been cancelled. Do you know why that has been done? Just fasten your seatbelt and listen on. Watch on as we unfold the package in this about 60 minutes of discussion. And today, don't miss it. We are going to be looking at the poisoned chalice handed over to Mr. Joseph Dion Ngute in the name of the Prime Minister's office. They call him Prime Minister, Head of Government. Stay tuned.
Honorable Joseph Weirba gathers Ambazonians. The time for his long-awaited great vision for the liberation of Ambazonia has come. The vision that inspired him to stand up for southern Cameroons in Cameroon's parliament to condemn Ambazonia's subjugation. The vision that got the oppressors hunting for his head. Weirba's vision for the freedom of Ambazonia is even stronger and clearer today than before. Let's come together, stand by him and with him. Join him in Stuttgart, Germany for the great come together on freeing Ambazonia. Weirba now has a direct route to Ambazonia's liberation. All routes lead to Stuttgart, Germany on Saturday, May 14th. Be there. Honorable.
Have you bought your tickets? Either train tickets, air tickets, or bus tickets? If you are anywhere on mainland Europe, sure, you're already making preparations to be in Stuttgart, Berlin on May 14, 2022. Because as you hear, all the roads will lead to Stuttgart. I'm not about to talk about that very important event, that very important trip by Honorable Weirba right now. I'll be coming to it later on in the discussions, but I want to make this clear. We have, called on him over and over to come out of his shells, to come out of his reserve and be, very active once more in this liberation movement. He beat his time. He took all the time he needed to examine what is going on in the struggle and to come out on a good footing. And that footing he's embracing is the footing all of us have been talking about. The quest for unity, the quest for synergy. And I suppose that this is the time more than ever before that all of those who have been saying the older ones have abandoned the movement. This is a time for everyone to come out and show it, because we have momentum on our side. Whether you like it or not, we have momentum on our side. It is what we will make of this momentum that is important, not just the fact that we have momentum on our side. And so, mark the date, For those who are already positioning themselves to start detracting, let me get this message straight to you. The time that Southern Cameroonians or Ambazonians reveled in attacking each other rather than facing La République du Cameroon has evolved. So, change with the changing times. Because today, if you call yourself an activist, all your arrows should be directed at Yaoundé. Any single time you mount your platform to talk about Sako left, Sako right, Chris Anu up, Chris Anu down, Cho Ayaba left, right, up, down, Ba Akuru has eaten or he wore a blue shirt today, Yerima has gone up, he has come down. Listen, my dear brothers and sisters of the Southern Cameroons, anytime you come out to do but that, trust me that you are standing on the wrong side of history. Let us focus all our energy on La République du Cameroon. That enemy is big enough for us to focus all our punches on, and everyone will have a place at least to punch in. Let us give a swift break to all the internal disorder and focus on that which is important. That is what will take us to the promised land. Let's allow those who are intent permanently on dividing us to continue to do their worst, but they will not succeed. But don't be an agent in their hands, or simply don't be a useful idiot. So that said, I will be coming back to talk about this trip by Honorable Joseph Weirba to Germany, because of course I am going to be in Stuttgart. I made up my mind last night that finally, because it came out of a reserve, I also have to get out there now on the international scene. Let us begin meeting again, and let us begin talking seriously again. Let us begin facing our challenges once more as a united people, as a people who know that the power to destroy our struggle or to build it and make it solid lies squarely in our hands. And so we must make use of this power to benefit the 8 million people of Ambazonia who continue to believe in our ability to set them free from slavery and servitude. That said, my people, I said a while ago that in 2 days, La République will, of course, along with other countries around the world, be observing or celebrating, because they usually celebrate in La République. Of course, you imagine people getting a lot of alcohol, dancing, getting drunk, and spraying things around, and even souleving kaba as usual. So, but this year, La République du Cameroon has decided that because of COVID, did you hear that? That because of COVID, as you can see on this letter, this is a circular letter sent to all the regions of La République du Cameroon, the divisions, the subdivisions, and the likes, alerting the various workers' trade unions to organize themselves in groups. So celebration this year is going to be in silos. To organize themselves in groups wherever they are and hold discussions, have debates and all not around the theme of this year's celebration. And they say the reason for this restricted kind of, celebration or observance of this day is because of concerns with COVID-19. My people, these concerns with COVID-19, we did not see them when they had to host the Shan, and La République du Cameroon still had to host the Africa Cup of Nations. We did not hear about these concerns of COVID. But you only hear about concerns of COVID when they have something to hide. And that thing that they have to hide in this circumstance is that La République du Cameroon, my dear people, at this point in time that we're talking, they don't have money to send out to the various governors, the senior divisional officers and divisional officers to spend as usual. They don't have the money. I told you the last time here that until we are towards the end of the month of April, of course, the month has ended today, because by Monday, we will be on May 2. The month has ended today. The budget of La République du Cameroon for 2022 is yet to be engaged by any single vote holder, shy of what they call sovereign expenses and the like. Nothing more. I know a lot of us have read so widely the article published by Dion Ngutes, in which he contends that this holdup is because the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have told Cameroon they must halt and pay the external debt and service the external debt at a very high interest rate, and this is a huge debt. And so for that reason, everything is halted. When I said it here on this platform, I've been saying it at least for the past 1.5, getting to 2 months, that La République du Cameroon is in very bad shape. A lot of people said, because it is from Baakuro, and because we know Baakuro, of course, he's even one of us. We even know where he lives. Some say we know where he sleeps and keeps his head. But is he not the son of late Province in Chair that we know here? How can he suddenly have that information, not us? So because you know that this is one of ours, you know you can't believe me. You can't take it from me. But until someone like Dieudonné Esomba, other like Boris Berthold, and other tell you that Cameroon right now is on life support, some begin to shake their heads, but this thing looks serious. My people of Ambazonia, it has always been serious. It's not just looking serious. I'm sure you are aware that the teachers of the OTS are once more on strike. Because although the government went in and made lofty promises, they were only able to service a little part of the debt for the teachers, mainly regarding those teachers who for at least 6 to 7 years had been earning only 1/3 of their pay. But for the bulk of the rest and everything, the bulk of the almost 200 billion, the government of La République du Cameroon has not been able to scratch even the surface. That is why the teachers are back to strike in La République du Cameroon. And that is why the academy here is threatened. Listen, people. La République du Cameroon will continue to mount a lot of people, even in our midst, to make you, to cause you to doubt those who tell you the truth, simply because they know that if you are allowed to recognize that this is the truth, to listen to it carefully, to believe in this truth, you will set yourself free. That is why they will use people even within our liberation movement to say, look, this thing that is my saying, forget, it's nothing. But I tell you, my people, verily, verily, La République du Cameroon by day and by night is being reduced to a very tight corner. So when you see things like this, it is not just connected to COVID. They don't have the means. The last time I talked here about May 20th parade, and that they announced that there was not going to be any feasts after the parades, the march past. And they'll tell you again, it's because of COVID, that they don't want any feast. Which means even in the unlikely event that Paul Biya finds himself at the 20th May Avenue for 45 minutes only, at the end of it, there will be no feast at the Unity Palace. There will be no feast at the SDO's residences. There will be no feasts at the governor's residences. The reason is simple. There is no money to send to organize such feasts. There is no money. But they will tell you it's because of COVID. They didn't evoke COVID when it concerned the AFCON. They did not evoke COVID when it concerned the Shan. But when they're in a tight corner, when they face a lot of difficulties, can't wait till they say, COVID, oh, COVID. Listen, my people, those of you who are still being deceived by day and by night to turn against this movement, you are falling off the ship at the historic moment. At the moment we are gaining momentum, at the moment we are negotiating a very important bend towards our freedom. Don't allow yourself to be cut off. No. Because any of you that falls in the trap today to believe that Ambazonia is not real, that La République is not real, you are being cut off. And La République knows the only way they can continue to hold anyone in slavery today is to continue with the campaign of disinformation and then sponsoring as much as possible with the last few francs they have, division, division and division in our ranks. The other day, I made a statement about what happened in Guzang, and I said I'm very delighted that Savior, they call him General Savior, decided to save the truth. You see how prophetic his name could be in Guzang? He decided to save the truth by coming out loud and clear to call out the diaspora by saying, people in the diaspora just sit and say ADF up, ADF down, ADF down. He pointed out how they worked in total collaboration and synergy with the ADF to avert the worst. Yet, sponsors of division in our ranks, based in the diaspora, were already everywhere, and they haven't stopped. They are continuing. Why are they continuing? Because they know that there are people in our midst who are so eager to share messages of division and even swear that Savior was bribed to say the truth. That Savior was bribed so that he should say what he said. And that Savior, if you touch him differently, he will tell you something different. My people of Ambazonia, we can't hate ourselves right to that extent. And this is why I agree with Mark Twain when he says politicians and diapers must be changed often and for the same reason. Because once you wear a diaper, of course, it gets wet and all whatnot, it becomes useless. It doesn't have any use anymore. Just because it has stayed so long with you, and when you're changing, you must change that diaper. That is why we should be able too often to shuffle those heads that have gone so redundant and that will only continue to spew division and confusion because they've gone out of ideas. They no longer know exactly what direction to take. My dear people of the Southern Cameroons, let's look at this liberation movement as a relay race. When you get tired, hand the baton to the next person to continue. Along the line, the baton will say, come back to you so that we continue moving. By all means, let's keep moving. So, I was just pointing this out to say, La République du Cameroon's woes are only multiplying. No money. That's why they'll be canceling events, but claiming it's because of COVID. Are you aware that the European Union, as we speak, has banned the exportation of some food crops from La République du Cameroon into the European Union space? Oh, yes. This includes things like banana, spices, I mean, a lot of agricultural product. What does that indicate? That is a serious loss. Loss of revenue to the government that will not be earning this very important foreign currency into its reserves. Loss of revenue to the farmers who are cultivating these crops and who are hoping that through exportation they are going to make more money, but that's money not going to be coming. And this could result also to loss of jobs by the agro-industrial complexes that are producing some of these crops. These are the woes of La République that continue. And of course, loss of tax revenue. So my people of the Southern Cameroons, don't allow yourself to be moved from the train of victory into a sinking ship. Because that is what La République is. That is where they are. Take a quick look at this. If you think that today La République du Cameroon is attributing all their economic woes now to the raging battle or war between Ukraine and Russia, then know that the difficulties of the people of La République du Cameroon are just at the genesis. By the time we get to Malachi, I don't know what they're going to say. Because if we look at this tweet that I have on my screen here, this screenshot, two big announcements. This is from the German government. Two big announcements at the Ramstein meeting. First, we are sending Leopard tanks to Ukraine. Second, we'll be training Ukrainian soldiers on German soil. Thank you to the US and Secretary of Defense for hosting and for fostering further solidarity among allies. Now, this tells you that if already just how many weeks into that conflict, La République du Cameroon is feeling the effects more than every other country, more than even the countries involved. Then ask yourself what's going to happen down the line, because the end is not in sight today, not even tomorrow. From what you can see, we are still in the preliminary stages, in the preparatory stages. So, my dear people of the Southern Cameroons, if you are about to make a choice now where to stand in this liberation movement, be very careful. Don't allow yourself to be drafted into a ship that is sinking. La République du Cameroon only counts on using you, to destroy your own aspirations. At some point, I will ask those mothers in Oku who came out in numbers from Elak Oku with all the people. The people who came out from Elak Oku to protest against the voices in the bushes. I hope they are preparing to come out now in even bigger numbers to protest against Mr. Bia's talks for what has happened to up to 40 of their children who were coming in from Bamenda on their bikes. I showed that parade in my last outing, and I'll show it again at the end of this discussion. They were heading all to Oku to pay last respects to one of theirs, brutally taken off by La République du Cameroon around below Foncha and thrown in the waters. Yet, do not allow them even the privilege to go and see off their colleague. Today, they're tagging them Ambas. My dear Oku people, these are your sons. You stood up to say you were against Amba. Today, these are the same people with whom you stood on the same side, holding your sons. Did they even recognize that they were the Oku people who stood with us? Oh no, they have forgotten. That is who La République du Cameroon is. La République du Cameroon has no friend in Southern Cameroons. They have just their interest. And that interest, which is permanent, is keeping us under slavery and servitude by the use of some of us, by exploiting some of us, like you people in Elak Oku, under the illusion that one of you is young may become vice president. I feel like dying of laughter. While he was prime minister, what did you get? Before you think of vice president. And prime minister for how many years? My people of the Southern Cameroons, don't allow yourselves to be fooled. Don't allow yourselves to be fooled. Because the days ahead will be interesting. Now, why I say the momentum is on our side, my people, is because the international community is waking up from slumber and coming face to face with the reality that La République du Cameroon has always been a failed state. And they are getting up from their slumber to tell La République du Cameroon in the face that they will never accept the labels that La République du Cameroon has tried to heap on us, who are fighting for the freedom of our people. That is why you see in this article on your screen that after the United States grants the temporary protected status for Cameroonian asylum seekers, the British MPs are pressing their government for a similar facility. And take note, although they say Cameroon, always know that the target is Southern Cameroons, because we make up the majority. We are the oppressed people. This is again a slap in the face of La République du Cameroon. And it doesn't end there, because someone who made a statement some years back that they hung to, they continue to hang on to, he said, oh, independence for Southern Cameroon, no, it's not very realistic today. But today, that same T. Bonagi has told them over and over, and he has been striking again. Judging from a news report from the ground, indicating that the situation at the borders between Cameroon and Nigeria is not interesting because of the activities of Southern Cameroon's liberators. He tweets, those who believe Cameroon's Anglophone crisis will simply fade away are blind. Instead, it is following a path of steady escalation and is on the way to regionalization. Without resolving the fundamental causes, it will get much worse. Wake up, international community. My people, I don't need to get into any interpretation. You read it, it's written in simple and clear English language. Easy for anyone to understand. And I'm sure people like Frundi should be reading this kind of tweets. I guess all of them. People like O.C. Joshua, they should be reading this kind of tweets. All those sellers of illusions who continue to calm down in the villages to tell you that, oh, listen, Amba is a bad dream. It will soon end. It will soon end. They are rejecting them everywhere in the world. Can you see for yourselves? No, we are not being rejected. Rather, the world is waking up to the reality that Ambazonia is real as death itself, and as real as life. I heard one Fingong say after the creation of South Sudan, oh, because there was some evangelicalism or whatnot, is ended. No more. Really? Really? Somaliland will soon be recognized. Is he aware? And I hope my message the last time reached Didier or Ben Willis, so that he should know that they're about to take you from a ship that is steady and on its course into a sinking ship. Many more will be targeted. Don't allow yourself to be a victim. As I said earlier at the start of this show, all the roads will lead to Stuttgart. And that is on May 14, 2022. Honorable Joseph Weirba remains the only elected representative in the Southern Cameroons who decided not just to support from behind and pretend that, okay, no, he still wants to get it, but he decided to step out, stick his neck, and say, this is the time to stand up for the people who put their confidence in me. Many like him decided to stay behind to be enjoying pecuniary benefits. And some have even become more militant against us than La République itself. Of course, I quoted the example of one Vanagansen Mochegal. We all listened to Nijon Frundi, and we have listened to a good lot of them, like O.C. Joshua that I mentioned just a while ago. They are now more CPDM than the CPDM. They are now more La République than La République. But these are people who receive the love, care, and protection of Southern Cameroonians against the same people they are dining with, lunching with, and enjoying with now on a daily basis, and standing with them and calling us names and making us know that they're no longer with us, they are with them. And this should educate us to the fact that they had always been with them, but is that the chance had not come for us to see what we are seeing today. Because like they say, until the rotten tooth is pulled out, the mouth must chew with caution. So my dear people, if you are in Europe, anywhere in Europe, or even in the Americas and you can afford it, and you plan to do so, get your ticket and head to Germany. Let's make Honorable Weirba know that we recognize the sacrifice he made, that we recognize the fact that he stood up early, very early, to listen to the cries of his people, and that he is in our midst and determined to forge on with us is something we must all be happy about and celebrate. I saw already some derogatory messages. People say, oh, yeah, I'm coming to launch my book. I'm hungry. I'm dying of hunger. Really? Honorable Weirba wasn't a poor man. A good lot of us who left home fighting for the freedom of Southern Cameroons were not poor. We suffered for a short period of time. But because we are people who know how to fend, how to fight, we are fighters, none of us is suffering again today. Rather today, we are contributing where those who have been in the diaspora, some, very few of them, who have been in the diaspora for many years and who could be contributing are rather tapping from this struggle. But a good lot of us who fled home, fighting for this same freedom, and are in the diaspora, we are fighting even more to keep it alive. And I urge each and every one of us to recognize that your $1, one that you put in this movement, is just too important. But most important will be the good word that you say to promote synergy, to encourage us on, to let the people on ground zero know that their sacrifices, their resilience, their determination will not go in vain. That is what we should be after. I'll be right back.
Joseph Weirba gathers Ambazonians. The time for his long-awaited great vision for the liberation of Ambazonia has come. The vision that inspired him to stand up for southern Cameroons in Cameroon's parliament to condemn Ambazonia's subjugation. The vision that got the oppressors hunting for his head. Weirba's vision for the freedom of Ambazonia is even stronger and clearer today than before. Let's come together, stand by him and with him. Join him in Stuttgart, Germany for the great come together on freeing Ambazonia. Weirba now has a direct route to Ambazonia's liberation. All routes lead to Stuttgart, Germany on Saturday, May 14th. Be there. Honorable Joseph Weirba gathers.
So therefore, my people, if you have not yet made arrangements to be in Stuttgart, start getting ready. Because like I said, I will personally be in Stuttgart. I'm delighted that the consortium, which has always stood for synergy, for unity, and to ensure that everyone works together, has permitted and authorized me to be by the side of Honorable Joseph Weirba in Stuttgart. And I have accepted and committed that I am going to be present in Germany. My people, the subject matter, or I should say in the main menu of today's discussion, is the poison chalice of La République du Cameroon to Mr. Joseph Dion Ngute. Take a look at this. The Guardian Post decided to take a cursory look at what the post of Prime Minister has benefited the people of the Southern Cameroons for 30 years and counting. At the start is Simon Achidiachu. From Simon Achidiachu to Peter Mafani Musonge. From Peter Mafani Musonge to Chief Ephraim Inoni, who ended in jail. I guess he's somewhere in the Western world now, drinking some beautiful champagne and staying indoors because they say we'll remove you from the dungeons. It was in Kondenge, and they removed him on grounds he was going for treatment, just to say, okay, go and sit somewhere and shut your mouth. Let's not see you anywhere. Enjoy quietly. And then from him, there was Philemon Yang, and then from Philemon Yang to Joseph Dion Ngute. But now, for these 30 years, we've not had a deep sea port constructed in Fako. No, and that is the most natural of all the seaports that should have been constructed in that triangle. For these 30 years, we have not had a ring road, despite Mr. Paul Biya promising way back in 1990 that he was going to personally oversee the construction of that ring road. During these 30 years, we don't have a good road linking the West region to Bamenda. No, we don't have. During these 30 years, we don't have a good road linking Kumba to Mundemba through Ekondo Titi, Indian, where a lot of the wealth of that country comes from. During these 30 years, even the Kumba Manfe Road is yet to near completion. During these 30 years, there is little or nothing to show. Not a single dam has been transformed into or has been constructed in the southern Cameroons. 30 wasted years and counting. But listen, one thing that we have had during these 30 years of these appointments, of some of these people as prime minister, at least what we have had, have been 30 years of continuous manipulation, 30 years of intrinsic division. It reached the rock bottom under Peter Mafani Musonge. 30 years of continuous reminder that all the people from Bamenda and those from Boya are different. All the resources are based in the southwest, and the people of the northwest want independence in order to take advantage of the resources. Oh my goodness. My people, just a little digression. I want to say this here and make it clear to all those who fall prey to that trash. Dubai, that's one of the most developed countries in the world. So well constructed, with state-of-the-art architecture. In fact, they're even pace setters in the area of high tech in the world. But Dubai is in the desert. There's no petrol in Dubai. No. No sea. No. Dubai has no resources. Nothing. But look at Dubai. Dubai is heaven on earth. Let me say this. Having resources, if that is even the case, is not synonymous to development. You doubt? Look at the Democratic Republic of Congo. That is the richest country. That's the country which has the greatest subsoil riches, not only in Africa, almost across the world. But the Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the least developed in the world. Coincidence? My people of the southern Cameroons. For 30 years and counting, that we have had prime ministers appointed from southern Cameroons in La Republic of Congo and called heads of government. This is what we have benefited. Division, manipulation. Turning brothers and sisters against each other, turning families against each other. That is all that we have had from La Republic of Cameroon. Nothing more. Of course, that is the balance sheet being drawn by the Guardian Post. The person who described the current Prime Minister, Dion Ngutes, because among all these Prime Ministers, the first four at least even wielded some power, although they always had the counterweight of the Secretary General at the Prime Minister's office there, who had more power than the PM himself, but at least those ones exerted some degree of influence, right up to Philemon Yang. But Dion Ngutes is the worst experience. Dion Ngutes is the most humiliated of all the prime ministers that country has ever known. The most humiliated, the most reduced to the barest expression. There is one sentence that reduces Dion Ngutes to simply holding meetings with people called Northwest elites, Southwest elites, and then planning little trips to Bamenda, Boya, and the likes. That is all. And that sentence is called "sur haute instruction du chef de l'État." That is the code word that is used by Ferdinand Ngongo to operate as the de facto prime minister of the Republic of Cameroon. In a number of things, the Secretary General at the presidency of the Republic is not even a member of cabinet. He is not. The Secretary General at the presidency of the Republic should not send a correspondence straight to a Director General, should not send a correspondence straight to a minister, should not send a correspondence straight to anybody. But today, no. Ferdinand Ngongo effectively runs all the government affairs from the office of the Secretary General at the presidency of the Republic. And the code word he uses is "sur haute instruction du chef de l'État." We see that the chef de l'État today even comes down to do what the Minister of Public Health should do. That is, decide that COVID tests should be paid for at the cost of 30,000. Sur haute instruction. That is the code word that's being used today to reduce Dion Ngutes to nothing. Do we all recall that the President of the Republic picked Joseph Dion Ngutes and instructed him to go represent Mr. Paul Biya at the funeral of the late Sultan of Fumban. Dion Ngutes got to Fumban. Of course, there was a speech he had to present on behalf of the President of the Republic. But the Prime Minister, head of government, who is at the presidency, Ferdinand Ngongo, placed an injunction on the delivery of that speech, and it ended there. So Dion Ngutes came to pass that he finally sat there like just any other commoner. At the end of the day, he had to, just turn around and disappear so unceremoniously, like he never went to represent the head of state. Those are the humiliations he lives on a daily basis. Can Dion Ngutes instruct any minister today? No, he can't. Who will listen to him? Can he talk to a secretary general anywhere today? No. Who will listen to him? That is why, in total boredom, he has to now start organizing meetings like, okay, I have to receive the elite of the Southwest and say, okay, we are organizing, we are taking commitment to go and bring peace. And he knows these are IDPs. They can't even go there. Yesterday, they went in those mobile coffins. Today, they can't try again because they know that the voices in the bushes now have the code. If they are doubting, they could ask the Dio of Ekono Titi. My people of the Southern Cameroons, this is a poisoned chalice. So Dion Ngutes sits there and even decides that, okay, at the end of the day, since I'm bored here, I'm doing nothing, let me at least go and meet my people, spend a little moment with my people, have some fun with them. That's why he decided that against all odds, there will be an all-Indian conference. Because he had been denied the authorization time immemorial, since he was appointed prime minister, head of government, to go and have a hectic homecoming in Indian. He himself was afraid and needed the state's assistance to organize some kind of thing that could have some degree of protection for himself. He never had the opportunity to. At the end of the day, when he decided to go through this kind of conference, where a lot of the delegates will go but through the seas to get to Mundemba, because they will not dare to pass through Lobe, Ekono Titi, and the likes. At the last minute, he was denied even that opportunity. He said, no, you watch it on television like all of us here. You're not going. Oh, gosh. And some sit and say, oh, we are excited because one of our sons is prime minister, head of government. With what powers? That is why a politician of La Republic of Cameroon, Albert Zongang, described Dion Ngutes as an errand boy with no clear-cut job description. And he said, Premier Minister, he played with the words. He said, Premier Minister, it simply meant that he said, if they say, who are the ministers, you should stand up the first as a prime. But not because there's any specific thing they need to do that others don't do. And so, this guy, who had been minister delegate at the Ministry of External Relations, while Ferdinand Ngongo was Secretary General at that ministry, meaning hierarchically, Dion Ngutes had once been his boss. Today, he is giving him all the humiliation that should be loaded on someone like that. My people of the Southern Cameroons. So therefore, when I saw this paper, say follow PM Dion Ngutes, emulate Indian division, follow him to where? Into humiliation land? Look at. I say Indian, the only communion they could have with him was his picture. But he is alive, sitting in Yaoundé. Could not go. That is part of the humiliation, part of the dehumanization, part of the torture. And you sit there, say, I'm prime minister. Prime minister with no portfolio. Prime minister without the powers to even appoint someone or the powers to even displace someone and say, move from here to that other place. Listen, my people, ignore this gibberish. Follow PM Dion Ngutes. To where? To disgrace land? To torture land? Or to Wonderland to go and join Alice? That is Dion Ngutes' poison chalice. Look at this. This is a confidential note signed by Ferdinand Gongo on April 22, and it is addressed to the Director General of Sonara in Limbe. That is in Dion Ngutes Southwest, as they call it. In Dion Ngutes Southwest, giving strict instructions of, works that need to be done, something has to be done so quickly to rescue Sonara and cause Sonara to start producing again. Listen, to cause Sonara to start producing again. Of course, he starts with that very important phrase. En exécution de très hautes instructions, le Monsieur le Président de la République. Suite aux conclusions du comité, I'm just heading there. I just want to read en exécution de très hautes instructions du chef de l'État. The chef de l'État doesn't know there's a prime minister he appointed who's sitting somewhere in the Star Building, reading newspapers, perhaps doing summaries, doing Pravda. That is what they say, tu vas lire. He's reading the clock. That's what John Ngute is doing there. Reading the clock. And some people see that, say, oh, our son has appointed prime minister. What does he represent? This is the Secretary General at the presidency of the Republic, who is not even a cabinet minister. Listen, who is vested with all the powers. And I told you in passing that Sonara was not producing gas anymore, not producing petrol. And so La Republic of Cameroon is caught with multiple crises. And that's why the government is now running amok. Because for the little history, we have forgotten. When the fire incident occurred at Sonara, the criminals were expecting they were going to harvest a lot of money because they were part of the whole game. They were hoping they were going to harvest a lot of money from insurance. But unfortunately, they forgot that they steal like rats and that they had embezzled money meant to pay for insurance. And so Sonara was not insured. So it came to pass that the billions of CFA franc they were expecting to get from insurance money to go construct another refinery in Kribi with simply could not exist. Now Sonara is not producing anything. It's just a structure standing there. And they gave the impression that no, nothing was really destroyed. They are still working, they are producing, just to make believe. Just to make us continue to think that they really didn't suffer any casualties, no serious economic problems, but they were still surviving. No! La République du Cameroun is crumbling. This is a confidential letter that I just showed you, saying exactly what I just said. Because he says, j'ai voulu faire connaître que le chef d'État vous autorise de mettre en œuvre, dans le cadre d'un partenariat public-privé, l'option de réhabilitation, reconstruction consistant au redémarrage de la raffinerie. Did you hear that? Redémarrage. When they say redémarrage, therefore a restart of the refining activities of Sonara. I tell you, Sonara has not been doing any refining activity. When I say it, you say, is this number Akuro? Don't we know him? Ha! And man, himself. Was he not with us in JHS in Bengui? Or was he not with us in Asmat? But we know him now. He was here. I even saw him the other day now. So how does he suddenly have this information? There you see it. Signed by the de facto Prime Minister, Vice President, Secretary General of the Presidency of La République of Cameroon, Ferdinand Ngongo. Listen, my people of the Southern Cameroons. Why all this happening? Prime Minister, in quotes, Dion Ngutes, is seated there and reading newspapers, watching television all day, and then occasionally amusing himself by calling on the IDPs from the Southern Cameroons who are there in Yaoundé. They say, come, let's be chatting now. Let's just be planning to see how. That's all he does. There has never been any prime minister more humiliated than this. There's never been any prime minister more reduced to nothingness than this. Yet, Dion Ngute is the same one who led a delegation to the United States of America to contract U.S. firms, Squire Patton Box and others, to work against the aspirations of his own people of the southern Cameroon, seeking to get freedom for ourselves and for him, including his children and his children's children. And in reward, they gave him a poison chalice, an empty shell with nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. What can John do? Of course, you heard me Sanganyamding say it, not only me, that Dion Ngute is the most humiliated, the most ignored prime minister that la Republic of Cameroon has ever known. Yet, some people can say, oh, our son. Yeah, that's your big gift from Paul Biya, really. Some of these gifts can really end up being huge embarrassments. My people of the Southern Cameroons, I want to take this opportunity to urge all and sundry, pay attention to this liberation movement. You, who is being used to stand against us, to fight this movement, come back home. Come back home before it gets late. Because verily, verily, we will be free. Nothing will stop this train of freedom in the Southern Cameroons. If you have been counting on what La Republic of Cameroon says, that we're heavily divided, if you have been used a lot of times to try to push and sponsor this division, I have news for you. Everything that begins has an end. The eyes of everyone are opening today. Of course, I listened to Grandpa Bali make clear that the manipulations from the diaspora will not pass anymore. They have decoded it. I heard Savior. Of course, he's from the camp of all those who have constantly spewed all of this. But he came out to say, I have to say the truth and shame the devil. That is the spirit that is growing. This is the second rebirth of the Southern Cameroons. We are being born again from the ashes of division into a newfound synergy where cooperation and general understanding will reign, will supersede division and manipulation. If division and manipulation has been your business capital, change before you get changed. Because whether I like it or not, this train is in motion and nothing will stop it. I said a while ago that I had broadcast this image, this video, in my last outing. These are bike riders all the way from Bamenda heading to Oku in total defiance to go and pay last respect to one of the other you ever see pass here, because they carry him in his jacket right here. You see him pass on the jacket right before us here. They are taking him to Oku to pay him last respect. But while they were doing all this and heading to Oku, La Republic of Cameroon intercepts them. You can see that's a gentleman passing there before your eyes. They intercept them and get 40 of them and keep them down and begin saying they have got Ambas. And they are going to keep them. They are going to extort from each and every one of them at the end of the day at least 100, 150, 200,000. And they will tell you they are not Ambas. That's what they are going to do. And if the people don't rise to talk about this, they will tell you tomorrow that they cannot account for this young man. So I'm asking the people of Oku, who came out and said they were coming out against Amba. This is the time for you people of Oku to come out and show us that you were doing this thing with your own same faculties. This is the time for you to come out and disprove those who said you collected money from La Republic du Cameroon to go out there and stage that. If you don't come out now, then you lend credence. Then you agree with us that you were manipulated by La Republic du Cameroon. Because these are your sons. 40 able-bodied young men being given names. But we don't see anything that they took from them. They didn't show us a single stick that they took from them. Tomorrow, when they will not be able to account for them, they will produce sticks and show you that these sticks came from them. So, my people, don't forget, La République du Cameroon will never, ever consider any one of you, any one of us, as a human being. If you doubt it, continue to do what you are doing. You will definitely agree with me someday. Let's end it here.
Ambazonians. The time for his long-awaited great vision for the liberation of Ambazonia has come. The vision that inspired him to stand up for southern Cameroons in Cameroon's parliament to condemn Ambazonia's subjugation. The vision that got the oppressors hunting for his head. Weirba's vision for the freedom of Ambazonia is even stronger and clearer today than before. Let's come together, stand by him and with him. Join him in Stuttgart, Germany for the great come together on freeing Ambazonia. Weirba now has a direct route to Ambazonia's liberation. All routes lead to Stuttgart, Germany on Saturday, May 14th. Be there.
All routes lead to Stuttgart on Saturday, May 14th. Be there. And as I said, I am going to be there. So if you have not yet made adequate preparations to be there, try to be there. So, my people of the Southern Cameroons, brave warriors of our liberation movement, let's continue working hard. Continue respecting the Monday Ghost Towns. Continue being resilient. Continue standing firm with your people and continue to reject manipulation and any divisive literature. The future is bright. To God be the glory.